And we begin tonight at 6 with Indiana's redistricting debate. Indiana Governor Mike Braun says if he's going to call a special session to redraw the congressional districts in our state, it's going to happen soon.
His comments come just hours after a spokesperson for Indiana State GOP offered a different take on where things are standing right now. To sort it all out, let's go to our State House reporter Emily Longnecker with the latest tonight. Emily.
The governor said, quote, "We're getting close," when asked for a timeline if or when he would call a special session. That's a very different take than the one offered by a spokesperson for Senate Republicans, who said in an email today the votes aren't there for redistricting. When asked Wednesday about Senate Republicans' position on redistricting, Governor Braun offered this.
I think that the case hasn't quite been made, but I think it will be. So again, I'm extrapolating in terms of where I think it's going to land, and it's not a lot different from what I said 2 months ago. It's just a lot closer.
The governor has said before he thinks, quote, "we'll get there" when it comes to lawmakers getting on board with calls from President Trump to redraw Indiana's maps. Last week, Senate Republicans, including Senator Bray, took part in a phone call with the president about redistricting. According to a report from Politico, Senator Bray and his leadership team are part of the no votes right now. But part of that leadership team, Indiana Senate Majority Floor Leader Chris Garten, made a post on X Wednesday, which said in part, quote, "I fully support redistricting in Indiana and have been in support since day one." The post later went on to say, quote, "This is not a fight Republicans picked, but it's at our doorstep, and I'm prepared to answer the call." These latest developments come a day after voting rights advocates emailed a petition against redistricting to Governor Braun and Republican leadership, signed by close to 20,000 Hoosiers. Governor Braun asked if he was looking at that in making his decision.
Certainly would, but they're coming from a place that I understand why they don't want to do it, because it's, from that end of the spectrum that's gerrymandered across the country, to where many Republicans now are feeling that this is kind of balancing the equation, and where I think Hoosiers, myself included, would be ones not wanting to step outside the normal framework. But when you look at all the compelling reasons, I think that case is sinking in.
Democratic State Representative Mitch Gore applauded Republicans still not on board with the redistricting push.
I think that my Republican colleagues who are holdouts on this issue are patriots, quite frankly. It may cost them politically in the near term, but I think their place in the history books will be confirmed as principled people trying to do the right thing.
Gore went on to say that he's talked to some Republican colleagues who publicly are a yes on redistricting, but privately, in Gore's words, said it's tearing them up. House Minority Leader Phil Giaquinta issued a statement today saying that House Democrats are receiving what he called a massive amount of calls from constituents against redistricting. And of course, Governor Braun having a very different take on this whole situation, saying several times today, we're close. At the Indiana State House, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
It has been windy and cool most of today. Hey, we've got some blue sky and sunshine in downtown Indianapolis. That's pretty nice, but it's going to get even colder as we move forward.
It really depends what it feels like where you are. We have temperatures ranging in the area from like 44 all the way up to like 56 right now. That's a big difference.
Yeah, I mean, the clouds made all the difference today. And if you were locked in with those clouds like we were in Indy early in the day, you stayed in the 40s. But once they moved just a few miles north, temperatures bumped up into the 50s pretty easily. The exact opposite thing will happen for tonight. So those areas that right now are in the 40s that are the coldest locations may be the warmest locations tonight, because the clouds may stick around a little bit longer. Meanwhile, where you've cleared out and the temperatures are into the 50s right now and you've got the blue skies, once the sun goes down, get ready for your temperatures to drop. We can still see some of those clouds on visible satellite, although as the sun sets, we're losing the visible satellite. You can still see them on the infrared. All of this is trying to ease its way to the east, but it's taking its time. So those clouds may stick around for several more hours, especially across the northern and northeastern part of the state. Because of that, that blanket of clouds means the temperatures aren't able to cool off quite as much. So we may actually see a reverse map of this when we look to this early tomorrow morning. We are expecting temperatures, though, for many of you to drop down past the 40s. We'll get into the 30s for tonight. We'll put 37 on the board, but temperatures are going to be close to freezing for a few isolated spots. A little patchy frost could develop. We do have a frost advisory from Indy and all the way down through the southern half of the state. We've got freeze watches to talk about. We'll talk about how low the temperatures may go over the next several mornings coming up.
All right, Rob, thanks so much. In the courtroom tonight, there's a trial date now set for the criminal case against Fox Sports analyst Mark Sanchez.
The former NFL quarterback is accused of beating a man here in Indianapolis earlier this month. Our Ashton Hackman was in court today for the hearing.
Mark Sanchez was not inside the Marion County courtroom on Wednesday, but his attorneys were there in his place. This hearing taking place between the judge and attorneys on both sides lasted only a few minutes.
Criminal Court 21 is now in session.
In that very brief hearing, a judge set December 11th as the trial date in the criminal case against Fox Sports analyst and former NFL player Mark Sanchez. The 38-year-old is facing felony battery, public intoxication, and other misdemeanor charges. Police say Sanchez was stabbed on October 4th after allegedly attacking a 69-year-old truck driver in a downtown Indianapolis alley. Attorneys say both men are still recovering, and it may impact the case schedule.
The case is progressing normally. We're looking forward to the discovery process. We're continuing to work with our partners in law enforcement, developing facts and information. But I doubt December is a realistic trial date.
For now, that trial date is set for December 11th. At the Community Justice Campus, Ashton Hackman, 13 News.
An Indianapolis man is now planning to plead guilty to a shooting on the west side of Indianapolis. Ezra Watkins is accused tonight of shooting a delivery driver while working at a Wingstop in February. This happened at the location near 10th and Lyndhurst. Police tell us the shooting followed confusion about a pickup order. The victim said several employees attacked him, including Watkins, who he says then chased him out of the store and shot him. Investigators say security video shows Watkins with a gun.
Tonight, a Cass County woman is facing more than 300 years in prison for sex trafficking a teenage girl. Today, a jury convicted 38-year-old Amanda Sager for arranging several sexual encounters between a 13-year-old and a 36-year-old, all in exchange for money. The victim testified that Sager also gave her alcohol and THC gummies. She is now set to be sentenced next month.
Today, a jury saw the damaged bicycle from a hit-and-run crash in Hancock County that left a boy with a traumatic brain injury.
That boy is 13-year-old Jasper Young, and this is his bike. He had just bought this bike at a garage sale on the day that he was hit. It happened on State Road 109 in Wilkinson about 2 years ago. He spent 6 months in rehab in Chicago, and during that time, he worked hard to regain his ability to learn to walk and talk again.
35-year-old Aaron McGee is tonight charged with leaving the scene of an accident resulting in catastrophic injury. Today, the jury saw body cam video where McGee said he thought he hit a deer.
I hit a deer.
Are you sure about that? How sure are you of it?
Was like 100% sure. I thought, I don't know.
Jasper is now 15 and a high school sophomore. He'll testify later this week.